Oh my gosh, guys, Ezra Miller was the villain, both in real life and in this show. So we watched the Acolyte episode 5. Um, I thought this was honestly a pretty entertaining episode. Like, just remove every other aspect of the Acolyte that you hate from the conversation for a minute. The action was pretty good. Like the lightsaber fights and the choreography and whatnot. I liked the the hand to hand fight with Daphne Keene and Amanda Steinberg. I thought that was pretty entertaining. The brutality was pretty fun as well. Like seeing Ezra Miller like murder all the Jedi, and especially the way that he killed Daphne Keene was like really impactful. He did the triple stab, unnecessary, but he did the triple stab. Fucking snapped Yord's neck. It's like, all right, well, I feel like people are gonna be happy about that one because people don't like Yord. But yeah, pretty brutal the way that he just murdered everybody. Um, and it is interesting because one of the like lore breaking things that I've heard people bring up is that I guess in one of the prequel movies, the scrotum head guy, there's like a line where he's like, "We haven't seen the Sith in like 1,000 years," and then so I guess because of that, there technically is not supposed to be any Sith in the show because that would contradict that line in the prequels. Um, I was kind of wondering if maybe like this like Sith guy was gonna end up being like an Inquisitor, kind of how like they basically just went, yeah, well, I know there's like the whole rule of two thing, but we kind of need more villains, so Inquisitors are a thing now. I was wondering if they were just gonna be like, yeah, this is just a random guy. He's technically not a Sith. But nope, in this episode, Ezra Miller is like, you might know me as a Sith. I'm a Sith. Although I will say, I still think that they're gonna figure out some way to make it work. Either it be like Soul dying before they go back to the Jedi Order, and either May and Osha dying, or Osha and May maybe like running off by the end of the show and not reporting to the Jedi Order. It is one of those things that does seem very egregious, and I can't imagine that they didn't think of it when making the show. You know what I mean? I would be very surprised. And actually, I will say the Ezra Miller twist, now that I think about it, also does kind of make sense, right? Because I know I was also wondering, like, what if it's one of the witches? Like, what if one of the witches is this like Sith guy? Because it would make sense that it's like, oh well, she's not actually a Sith, she's a witch lady. I was wondering if maybe one of the witches was going to end up being the Sith guy, but I guess it does make sense that it would be Ezra Miller if the rule of two is a thing. And I guess like he would be the Sith master and May would be the acolyte or whatever. Although question, and again, this is a question to all the Star Wars nerds. Around this time, isn't Palpatine supposed to be around? And then who's the guy, Darth Plagueis or whatever? Would that have been supposed to have been Palpatine's master? Isn't that around this time? I don't know. That's a question. I don't actually know the answer. But yeah, so yeah, as far as like the lore stuff, I'm not entirely sure. But just as an episode, I thought it was fairly entertaining. I thought the action was entertaining. I want to know. I do earnestly want to know, like, what did the Jedi do at the witches' village when May started the fire? Because they obviously did something, right? Like it really doesn't seem like it was all May's fault, right? Like they're clearly setting up that the Jedi did something. Soul is clearly guilty of something, or he feels guilty about something. Like, did they end up killing some witches or something? Was there something more nefarious where they like killed the witches in order to steal May and Osha away from them? Is it that like the fire started and the witches were like, it was the Jedi, they did it, and then like the Jedi maybe attacked the or maybe the witches attacked the Jedi and then the Jedi killed them in self-defense? I don't know exactly what it's going to end up being, but it really they're just clearly setting up that the Jedi did something to the witches, but we just don't know exactly what. But yeah, and I will also give the show this. They leave things off where I'm like, I think we still have like 4 more episodes, right? I think there are 9 episodes in the season. Let me look this up real quick. Acolyte episode count. Okay, there's going to be an 8 episode run, so there are 3 more episodes. I'm not entirely sure where it's going to go from here on out. Like, I guess, is it all just going to be focused on Ezra Miller and Osha and May and Soul? Like, are those going to be just our primary characters now? I guess, because they killed off a lot of the secondary characters. So yeah, and I will give the show this. I am genuinely interested to see how it plays out. You know what I mean? You know, and I will also defend myself here a little bit. You know, I've been enjoying the show, generally speaking. I thought the last episode was annoying just because it was annoyingly short. And it was like, if last week's episode and this episode would have just been smushed together into one episode, I feel like it would have been an entertaining episode of television. Because they really do feel like one episode, right? It is just annoying that Disney Plus just continues to make these aggravatingly short episodes. But overall, I've been enjoying the show. But that being said, I don't think that this show is like amazing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I don't like to give ratings because ratings are stupid. Just listen to the words that come out of my mouth. I think this show's like a 6 out of 10. It's like, I'm enjoying it, but I understand all the criticisms. I don't think it's like brilliantly written. You know, I think a lot of the production value doesn't feel like $180 million. I just still like enjoy it. I think it's interesting, and I don't notice nor do I care as much about like the lore breaking elements of it all. So that's it. You know, just gonna defend myself a little bit there. But yeah, let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments down below. Yeah, let me know. Inform me of all the lore stuff that I just didn't notice that maybe this episode broke. Also, what's the deal with Ezra Miller's arms? Because he was like straight up deflecting lightsabers with his arms. That seems overpowered. He seems like a Mary Sue. This fucking Ezra Miller guy. How is he doing that? Is there precedence for that? I don't know. I will say, I will give a pretty big criticism of the episode. It definitely felt weird that they weren't all like attacking him at the same time, because the episode starts and he's like, and Ezra Miller is fighting like a few Jedi, and then Soul comes out of nowhere once he's done getting them out, and then Daphne Keene comes out of nowhere to fight with May. It's like, weren't they all together at the end of the last episode? It doesn't really make sense that they weren't all there fighting Ezra Miller like at the same time. So that actually is a pretty big criticism of the episode. It feels like there was a lot of just conveniences for convenience's sake. But overall, I enjoyed it. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. See you in the next video. Goodbye.